Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Victor and you are watching Victor's English class. Today, our lesson is all about auxiliary verbs. What are they? Why do we need them? And how do we use them? Let's get started. First things first. I don't really like calling them auxiliary verbs because this word sounds too technical. Instead, I prefer calling them helper verbs. It's easy to remember and it lets you know what their function is because that's their primary function. They help other verbs. How? Well, there are three ways that helper verbs can help other verbs. The first way is they make the verb negative. How does it do that? Well, if we look at this word, drive, and let's say we want to make it negative. How do we do that? Do we just put not here? Drive not. Do we just put it before? Do we just use a prefix like undrive to make it negative? Does that word even exist? Or misdrive? Can we do that? Well, these words don't exist. So that means the word drive, in order to make it negative, it needs help. That's when we use helper verbs. For example, let's say John drives a car. If we want to make it negative, we simply use a helper verb. John does not or doesn't. Now, because you already have present simple here, you don't need another present simple there. John doesn't drive a car. The function of this is to help this verb become negative. Okay, that's the first way. Second way is that helper verbs turn sentences into questions. Let's use the same sentence. John drives a car. Now, if we want to make this sentence into a question, do we just change the full stop into a question mark? John drives a car? Well, no, we can't do that. We need help. The verb needs help. So what do? We use another helper verb. Does John, and because this gives you present, drive a car. That's the question form with the help of a helper verb. Next, they give the verb time. Now, this is true for participle forms of verbs. Let's take an example, driven. If you look at this word, you don't actually know what time it is. It could be past, could be present, could be future. You don't know because participles don't actually show you time. They just show you the action. So it needs help. If you want to make this past, all you have to do is use a helper verb. Had driven. John had driven a car. If you want to make it present, John has driven a car. So essentially, these tell you the time, not the participle. The same is true for verb ing, driving. If you just look at that word, you don't actually know if it's past, present, or future. It needs help. So, how do you make that past? Was driving a car. How do you make it present? Is driving a car. So again, these auxiliary verbs show you the time, not the participle. So now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Victor, how do we know which auxiliary verb to use? It's very simple actually. So, here, it's a simple graph or table. It's a table. It's a simple table that tells you what kind of auxiliary verb you need to use. But first, you have to consider what tense you're using and what form of the sentence you want and what time you're expressing. So let's start this one. Any simple tense. If it's positive, no auxiliary verb. Simple. If it's negative or question, then you use do. Now, of course, this depends on the time. So if it's a past simple, it's did. If it's present simple, do or does. Singular, plural, right? Now, what about the future? Well, if it's any kind of simple tense, you just use will. Yeah. So, let's look at some examples. Timmy doesn't go to work. This is past simple negative, right? If it's present simple positive, there's no auxiliary. It's just Timmy goes to work. Let's try past simple question. Did Timmy go to work? That's your helper verb. Now, future, will Timmy go to work? Simple, isn't it? Now, if it's a continuous tense, any continuous tense, then positive, you need to use be. Same with negative, same with question. Now, of course, the form of be depends on the time you're looking at. If you want to express past time, then be becomes was or were. If it's present, is, am, are, right? And if it's future, it's will and be. And that's it. So let's look at some examples again. Let's try present continuous. Timmy is driving a car. Present continuous. Now let's try negative. Timmy isn't driving a car. Let's try question. Is Timmy driving a car? So, future. Will Timmy, but you've got that, be driving a car? Now, let's look at perfect tenses. If you're looking at perfect tenses, then positive, negative, and question, you need to use have. Now, of course, this depends on the time that you're looking at. If you want to express past, then this becomes had. If you want to express present, then it becomes has or have. Singular, plural. If it's future, then it's will plus have. Easy. Now for perfect continuous, it's have plus been. Similarly for negative, have plus been. Have plus been. Okay. Now, of course, if you want to make it past, then it becomes had plus been. Present, has or have plus been. Future, will have plus been. And that's it, really. All you have to do is consider the kind of tense you're looking at, positive, negative, or question, and the time that you want to express. That's it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.